Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is me, Nikki Sinha, and I am here with yet another very interesting video on the Britishers. So today we will be discussing about the British policies. Now you all know that Britishers had many policies. Doctrine of lapse, subsidiary alliance, ring fence policies, the subordinate policies, so many of them. So in this video, we'll be discussing a few important ones. So we'll be discussing two here. So we'll discuss the subsidiary alliance and then we'll discuss the doctrine of lapse. Now it seems very easy, but there are certain nitty-gritties that you must remember. First of all, let's understand subsidiary alliance. Who introduced it? It was introduced by Lord Wellesley. All right. Now these are the features. So any Indian ruler who has entered into the subsidiary alliance with the Britishers would have to accept British forces within his territory. So first of all, he has to disband his own army. The Indian ruler will have to disband his own army. He will have to accept British forces in his kingdom, and he will also have to pay for the maintenance of the troop. So the British troop will be paid by whom? The British troop will be paid by the Indian king. The ruler would accept a British resident in his state, fine, or else give a part of his territory. So either you accept a British resident or you give a part of your territory. Now, an Indian ruler who entered into the subsidiary alliance would not enter into any further alliance with any other power, fine. They would not employ any other European in their services, nor would they declare war against any other power unless and until they have permission from the Britishers. So the British resident will now decide the internal and external factors, internal and external matters of the state. Who the king goes to war with, who does he sign his treaties with, who is he having trade relations with. All that will now be governed by whom? All that will now be governed by the Britishers. It would be decided by the Britishers. Now, the ruler would have to acknowledge the East India Company as paramount, all right? And in return, the company would protect the state from any kind of external dangers and internal disorder. So if there was any internal disorder or anarchy, the East India Company would protect them, the troops would protect them, and if there's any external threat that he is facing, obviously he will be protected. Okay? The rulers were promised that the company would not interfere in the internal matters, but that did not happen in reality. So as I told you, that the resident was interfering in both the internal and the external matters. All right? So this is your subsidiary alliance. Now we have doctrine of lapse. Now you know doctrine of lapse is very simple. This was introduced by Dalhousie and he said that he is not going to recognize adoption. So any king or a queen, if they have a natural heir to the throne, a biological heir to the throne, it is fine. But if they do not have a biological heir to the throne, adoption will not be recognized, all right? And the company will have the right to annex this kingdom. Right? This is the basic of it. Let's take a look at the nitty-gritties. So doctrine of lapse implied that the company could take over an Indian state in the absence of a legitimate heir to the throne. So Dalhousie basically used this policy to extend the company's control, all right, over Indian territories. Now the Dalhousie basically divided Indian states into three categories. Okay? The first category consisted of those states in whose formation the company had played a direct role. Fine. The rulers of such state were completely prohibited from adopting heirs to the throne. So all of those states in which the company had played a major role, okay, in the creation of which the company had played a major role, they were absolutely prohibited from adopting. Okay. Second category was those states which were subsidiary to the company. They were required to get permission before appointing any adopted son. So those who have accepted the subsidiary alliance, or those who were subsidiary to the Britishers, below the Britishers, or in general, those who have accepted the subsidiary alliance, they would be required to do what? They would be required to seek permission. Okay? If the Britishers allow, well and good. If they don't, nothing happening. The third category was that of the princely states, like that of Hyderabad, Lucknow, etc. They were completely free to adopt heirs to their throne. So Rajasthan, whole of Rajputana, Jaipur, etc. They were all your princely state. Awadh, sorry, not Awadh, Lucknow, Hyderabad. They are all princely state and they were free to adopt. Okay. Now, these are the following states which were annexed on this pretext, which were annexed on the pretext of what? On the pretext of doctrine of lapse. So Satara was in 1848. Please remember the dates. Jaipur and Sambhalpur in 1849. Baghat in 1850. Udaipur 1852. Jhansi 1853. Nagpur 1854. In 1856, Awadh was also included on the basis of mixed governance. Okay, at the time when Nawab of Awadh was Wajid Ali Shah, he was the last Nawab of Awadh. So Awadh was actually annexed on two pretexts. One was the subsidiary alliance, okay, and the second one was which? And the second one was doctrine of lapse. All right. So these are the two very important policies of the Britishers that we have discussed. Now, I wanted to discuss this because these are the policies that they have mostly used for all of their annexations, right? So I really hope that these policies were clear. Please remember the date, the person who introduced it, where was it implied, what were the impacts, all right? So please remember those factual information because these are very scoring. If you remember them, you're able to answer them. We will be discussing more of the British policies, like the free trade policy. We'll be discussing about the ring fence policy, etc. Their implications, how it was introduced, and what did it imply, what did it create in India. All that would be discussed in detail. So this is it from my side. I really hope that you have understood the video, enjoyed it, and learned from it. If you still have any difficulties, please feel free to address them in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to help you out with it. This is, till then, this is me, Nikki Sinha, signing off. Please take care.